All right, let us prepare ourselves. If you just put your hand over your eyes and say with me, I see the spiritual truth today. And your ears, I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today. And now open over your heart and extend out your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. You know, I was in Utah all week with our church convention, churches all over the United States and England and other places as well, Mexico. And many of those people, ministers and parishioners, are on our video feed. They listen to us every week. And so many of them have said, you know, I say that the hand prayer, the posture prayer with you every Sunday, and it makes me happy to think that people all over the nation are saying that prayer with us. The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that you are always at choice. You are always at choice. Now, we want to get this spiritual truth so that it becomes what I call second nature, or maybe even first nature. You know, when you learn how to ride a bicycle, you know, and if you've given that bicycle, you haven't ridden for years and years and years, but finally you get back on the bicycle, you're a little bit wobbly, but your cellular memory takes over. And pretty soon you're riding the bicycle because it's second nature to you. You've learned how to do that in all parts of your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your cells, everywhere. You know how to ride that bicycle. And that's where we want to be with these spiritual truths, like you are always at choice. So I want to break this down today. We're going to take it word by word because the idea that we need to understand that you, every single one of us, you and me, are always at choice. And like all spiritual truths, they are operating whether we understand it or not. Whether we know about it or not, these spiritual truths are in operation. They don't wait for you to understand whether they're going on before they spring into action. They're just springing into action. You can understand it, you can not understand it, doesn't matter, it's going on. So being aware of today's spiritual truth, you are always at choice, will move us from being stuck to being unstuck, to moving forward. It'll move us from being victims in this life to being victorious over every situation in our lives. Now, that may be hard to swallow. Maybe like I don't remember having a choice that brought this situation into my life. I just don't see it, Reverend Georgia. I've looked and I just don't see it. But here's the thing. Truth is truth. Truth is truth. And if it's a spiritual truth, it's not negotiable. We are always at choice. And some of the choices, some of the reasons it doesn't feel true for us is because a lot of the choices we make are unconscious choices. When we say, I didn't make a choice. I don't recognize that I made a choice that brought this into my life. You're telling the truth. You don't recognize it because it was an unconscious choice, not a conscious choice in our lives. See, we get up every day and we make these unconscious choices. Most of us eat breakfast, we just pull something up and we eat it. We don't even think about what we're eating. We don't ask ourselves, what do I want for breakfast today? It's either what I have in the house or what I had yesterday. That's what we have. You know, some of us, we put on clothes in unconscious choices based on what's appropriate for where we're going, not by, what do I want to look like today? What do I want to feel like today? It's what is right for today. That's the unconscious choice we're making. Some of us, we make our attractions unconscious choices. And we wonder, what in the heck is happening here? It's because you made an attraction choice that was an unconscious choice in your life. So knowing about this today's spiritual truth, you are always a choice, it's critical. But it's not enough. We got to up the ante here. We have to start choosing between limited and less limited in our life and begin choosing unlimited in our life. Because we live in an unlimited universe. Unlimited number of friends are available to us out there. Unlimited amount of creativity is available to us out there. Unlimited expressions of who we are, unlimited out there. Unlimited amount of money is available to us out there. And I always throw money in because you're all saying, yeah, I get that there's a limited amount of friends. I just haven't met them yet. But money, I don't think so. But today's truth, we're always a choice. It's an unlimited amount of money out there. Let's choose that. Let's choose that idea for ourselves. And to do that, a couple things have to happen. We have to believe that there's a divine wisdom out there that both knows the way to unlimited living and also knows that we are worthy. That we are worthy in our lives. There's a wonderful example of that in the Bible. On an ordinary day, an ordinary girl goes out to do an ordinary thing, which is get water from a well. And the angel Gabriel comes to her and says, you've been chosen to bring something divine into this world. And after a lot of what I would imagine are, no, are you crazy? No, she completes the contract with her divine and says, the Lord has ways I know not of. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. See, there's a Gabriel in your life today that is whispering to you. What can you bring into the divine today? Is it to go back to college? And you think, I can't do that. I've got kids. I've got bills. The Lord has ways you know not of. Is the angel Gabriel whispering to you there is a reconciliation that wants to be had with your son or your daughter or your grandchild or a good friend? And you think, I've tried. I don't know how to do that. The Lord has ways we know not of. Is the divine in you whispering that you want to reconstruct your body so that you're eating healthier, you're exercising, and you've tried a million ways, a million diets, joined a million gyms, and you just don't know how to do it? The Lord has ways we know not of. We set the intention. We choose what we want, not what we think we can get away with, not what we think we will get, but what it is we actually want. And once we make that choice and begin to do the work to trust in a Lord that has ways we know not of, we can see things change in our lives. See, my challenge to you and to me as well is to begin to believe in God as much as we believe in Google. You know, you type into Google what you want, and what happens is you see that little biz goes around and around and around and around. It just takes seconds for it to go to the World Wide Web and bring you a bunch of choices. Here's what you could have with these words. And we believe it. And we make a choice out of one of those words. God is better than that. We just have to begin to type into the presence of our prayer what it is we want. And trust in our God as much as we trust into Google. And then we have to do this. We have to be quiet to hear what's coming back to us. See, you don't fight with Google. If you doesn't see what you want, you type in something else. And we can do that with God. But no, God says to us, sure, you can end that estrangement with your relative. Of course you can. Here are some suggestions. If we're quiet enough, we will get those suggestions. But we say, no, he'll never do it. No, we can't. No. We have to stop and just be still in our lives. See, we have to start actually testing this in our life. We have to test it. The little things as well as the big things. To begin to ask and to know. Ernest Holmes says this. He says, I would like to meet one person who can prove a spiritual principle than many people who spout a lot of spiritual principles. You are always a choice. We need to start testing that in our lives. See, those of you who are history buffs, or have taken Prosperity Plus from me, or maybe you've taken Roots, and you know a little bit about Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson was one of the fathers of New Thought. And what he would do is he would gather people in he would invite people over to his dinners, and they would talk about one spiritual principle a night. And they would sit and they would discuss it and see what was true about it and how they felt about it. And they had all of the elite, the intellectual elite, the financial elite. They would come and sit at the table. The Alcotts would come, other people would come. And they decided that they would let some of the people who were of a lesser stature in the community, they would let them sit in the hallway and listen to what they had to say. Yeah, hallelujah. Okay, so we're not going there right now today. We'll go there another day. But what happened is a guy named Henry, their gardener came in, and he was sitting in the hallway. The gardener's name was Henry David Thoreau. And Henry David Thoreau was so enthralled with these discussions, he never missed a night in which they were talking about a spiritual truth. He never missed one night. And pretty much he was so bright that he began to say things from the hallway into the room. And he was so brilliant, of course, that they eventually, and I don't know if they fed him or not, but they let him come in after and sit at the table, and then he began to be part of the conversation. And at one point, after a while, he said, I'm done discussing these spiritual truths. I want to go out. I want to make the choice to try them out. I want to, as his words was, suck the very marrow out of life. I want to go out and test this. So he went about a mile away and he bought a little piece of land and built a very tiny house, and he began a 1-year experiment on testing this way of living. This way of living that says, the Lord has ways I know not of, but I'm going to try and live in harmony with what I think they are and test them and see if they are. And he came out at the end of the year. And at the end of the year, he said, I kind of think that the culmination of this experiment for me is learning the truth of the great 16th century Catholic theologian Hildegard of Bingen, who said that we need to learn to live at the green edges of our becoming. Let me say it again. We need to learn to live at the green edges of our becoming. And that's what we need to do, to know that we're always at choice, and sometimes that takes risk. Sometimes that means stepping out into things that we're not as clear about. It does. I have a friend named Sylvia who also tested this out. One of the things that Ernest Holmes said was this, that he repeats a lot, is that God is no respecter of persons. He repeats that from the Bible. He repeats that a lot. And what he's saying to us is not that I don't love every single person. He's saying there are not some of you who are blessed and others of you who aren't. Everybody is blessed to the absolute maximum. You are all favored by me. And some of you will make the choice to recognize it. And you will step out into the green edges of your becoming. I've told this story before in this church of a friend of mine who was going to turn 50 years old. This was a minute ago. And we were living in Santa Rosa. And during that time, she said, I want to do something special for my 50th birthday. Will you spend that with me? And I said, sure, of course. And I thought we were going to go to the bars in San Francisco. I didn't know what we were going to do, but I thought she's turning 50. It'll be something big. And she said, no, what I want to do is I want to run a 3K race in Sonoma County. vineyard races are very popular. And so she said, I want to run a 3K race. And I want you to be there with me when I run it. And I said, sure, I'll be happy to be there with you. She was a little chunky. And she said, I'm going to join Weight Watchers, and I'm going to lose a few pounds. And I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to go to one of those gyms, and I'm going to get in shape. This is 6 months out, and I'm going to get ready for it. And I said, great. Well, I'll put it on my calendar. I'll go and I'll clap for you when you're done. And so she, the race day came, and she had been to the gym, and she lost a few to Weight Watchers, and she'd lost not all of the weight she wanted, but some of the weight she wanted. And she'd been to the gym more days than she hadn't been to the gym, so she had gotten kind of in shape, and she was ready. And so on race day, and her son and daughter-in-law had moved to Atlanta, and they bought her a nice blue workout suit so that she was going to wear for the race. So she was set. And so on race day, I went by Safeway on the way to get her, and I got some balloons, and I put them in my trunk, and I picked her up, and we went to the race, to the vineyard. And when we got there, I noticed in the vineyard there were just tons of people, beautiful, gorgeous, sleek people in spandex that were warming up to go to the race. And so they get right up to the race line, and Sylvia, of course, gets right up to the race line as well, and the gun goes off, and whoosh, all these spandex people run off, and right after her was Sylvia, just running off and going on to the race. And so 3K isn't very long. While they were out there, I decided to go to my car and get the balloons, and I'd go to the end line and wait for her. And I did. And pretty soon, I'm standing at the finish line, and all of a sudden, whoosh, all the spandex comes back in, and they're all ready. They're mopping their little brows, and they're getting their little Perrier water. They're all just getting all ready. And I'm looking down the vineyard, and I don't see Sylvia anywhere, not anywhere. And pretty soon, all these runners that were around me, they see me looking. And so they come over and they stand with me, and pretty soon I hear the huffing and puffing. Before I see her, I hear her coming down the road, and she comes down the road, and all of these runners ran out to meet her. And they began to run her back and say, come on, Mama, you're an athlete now. Come on, Mama, you're a runner now. You can do this. You look up. Don't look down. Look up. Look at the back of my head. One runner got in front and said, look at the back of my head, Mama. You can do this now. See what happens? We can take these risks when we're all in this together. Those runners meant more to me than even Sylvia finishing the race, because we can help each other live at the green edges of our becoming. And but we have to make the choice. See, Sylvia made that choice. She didn't even see anybody in spandex. I was the one worried. She made that choice to go out into this life. See, there is a level playing field. Christians do not have the market on being born again. We can be born again. Many of us in this room have put the plug in the jug, and we were born again. Yes. Many of us have learned about the spiritual principles of abundance, and now we have extras. We get to go on vacations. We get to do this and that. Many of us perhaps there are some people who were ragers, but now they're in beautiful relationships of harmony because they learned how to be born again. They made the choice to do things differently in their life. The next word in this spiritual truth is are. You are. See? It's not that you were at choice or you will be at choice. You are at choice right now, in this moment. It's true that you were always at choice. It's true that you will always be at choice, but it's irrelevant right now. What's relevant is that we are in choice right in this moment in our lives. And that's important. That's important because we need to leave the past in the past. In recovery, we say, we do not regret our past nor wish to shut the door on it. And we say that because what happens with the past is we feel guilt and shame. And guilt and shame will push our experience of being with God even further. I've heard people say, and I've said it myself, I can't find God right now. I just can't find God right now in my life. And if I look at my life, at the time I'm saying I can't find God right now, I'm in a state of shame or guilt. And we push that presence of God away from us in our lives. Now is the power we have, right now. Now is the power. Turn to a neighbor and say, now is where the power is. Will you say it one more time? Now is where the power is. The last word in this is always. We are always at choice. Now look, we can feel like this is a Sunday talk. If we want to, we can feel like this is a good Sunday talk and go out and have Monday experiences, even in Sunday afternoon. But what we want to do is to begin to know that our Monday voice doesn't get a real voice. Truth is truth. And so when I say you are always at choice, and your Monday voice is saying, yeah, but she's not married to whom I'm married to. Or your Monday voice is saying, she doesn't work where I work. Or your Monday voice is saying, she's white. Or your Monday voice is saying, she's heterosexual. If your Monday voice is saying that, listen to it. It may have some valuable information to it, but it's not truth. It's not truth. We are always at truth. You know, for years, gay people could not get married in this country. And we had a choice at that point. Because I'm going to tell you that because we couldn't get married, we were held at we had a negative financial impact as a result of that. We had a negative familial impact in many cases of that. It had an impact, but it wasn't the truth of us being able to create loving relationships. It wasn't the truth of us having the holiest of marriages in our lives. And that's what we had to make the choice to understand in our life. See, we have a choice to be able to live with our unhealed past or our spiritual magnificence. Our unhealed past or our spiritual magnificence. See, Jesus was born in a barn. He didn't really have a job. He didn't have a wife. Buddha was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he still wasn't happy. We have to make a choice. No matter what the external circumstances are, we can make a huge impact in the world if we make the choice that the spiritual truth allows us to make in our lives. Not listening to prognosis, but listening to truth in our lives. We have to learn how to say to the alarmists in the world, on the television box, in our families, in our subconscious. We have to learn how to say cancel, cancel. Cancel, cancel. Television box, you just said a mean-spirited thing about somebody. I'm not letting it in. I'm making the choice not to let it in. Cancel, cancel. Sister-in-law, you just said something wrong about, seems mean-spirited about somebody else in my family. I'm making the choice not to listen to you. Cancel, cancel. I'm not letting it in. We have that choice. And so many more choices out of our lives. And sometimes it takes courage. You know, Noah was asked to build the ark before there was even a forecast of rain. And that's what this spiritual truth is asking us to do. Make a commitment to choice that we are whole, perfect, and complete before the rain falls in our life. Because chances are it will. And when we do that, we will know a happiness beyond measure. Let's take this message into prayer, knowing that there is a power for good in the universe, and it's one that I cling on to, even sometimes with the barest grip. I cling on to that notion that there's a power for good in the universe, one that loves me and that I love, and that it shows up in each and every person on the planet. I give thanks for this. I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so it is.